Hello everyone, Nika here with your daily neuro nugget. So this is actually the second neuro nugget of the day. Happy hump day. We're gonna get right into it because I don't have a lot of time. There's so much information to cover. There have been rumors out there speculating, theorizing, assuming that maybe, just maybe, we are extremely close to getting this case dismissed because of the new red fluids that have been found at the crime scene that, of course, we've never heard about before, especially not from Payne, right? Especially not from Chief Fry, right? Especially not from Bill Thompson. We have recently heard this out of the mouth of the defense, out of the mouth of Ann Taylor, and, you know, it is what it is. We're going to get right into it, guys. Hopefully this isn't as glitchy as before. So I wanted to, first of all, correct myself because there might have been some confusion in previous videos, right? So what we have heard from Ann Taylor is that, okay, there is, I'm not going to say the word because this platform doesn't like the BLOOD word. So we're going to call it red fluid so that we don't get banned for another 2 weeks or whatever happened. We're just going to use the BLOOD word. We'll say red fluid. We'll say red fluid, right? So we know that there was red fluid found on the handrail. There is red fluid found on a glove. This is a separate glove that was found. We know that there was another glove that had been found by Chris McDonough. Maybe that did belong to a police officer. I don't think we've been told yet. But this is another glove with actual red fluid on it. But then there's no red fluid on the knife sheath. So I'm going to break down the hypocrisy of our justice system because it's fucking hypocritical in my opinion. I just watched a lawyer say that, look, just because Brian's DNA, touch DNA, was allegedly found on this button doesn't mean that he didn't commit the crime. Because a lot of people were asking him, okay, but lawyer, you're saying that there is red fluid on the handrail, there's red fluid on another glove, by the way, that were never, ever uploaded to CODIS. We know that in any crime, this is the first place where DNA is uploaded to. It was never uploaded to CODIS, right? And he's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that they committed the crime. I'm like, okay. It doesn't mean that just because there was red fluid from 2 other unknown males at the crime scene that they committed the crime. But you want to use touch DNA and pin it on the guy, although there was no red fluid on the sheath. It's interesting to me, right, to see that hypocrisy of lawyers saying, well, yeah, you know, we know this was a party house. There could have been other guys at the house. We know that there was other people at the house. But then again, why are you not going to upload red fluid of 2 other men, but you want to upload touch DNA found on a button of a knife sheath? That, by the way, you know, using common sense, this knife sheath should have technically had blood or red fluid on it because, yeah, it was found under Maddie Mogan, allegedly. So just pay attention to that, right? That's weird to me. And I also wanted to point out something about Judge Hippler because some of you guys already know how I feel about him. We've given him the benefit of the doubt, but I just found out, you know, by watching little snippets here of Andrea Burkhart, which, by the way, is one of the very few lawyers that are on YouTube that I respect. She tries to be, in my opinion, as unbiased as possible, right? And for those of you who are new to this case, for those of you who are new to the YouTube family here, welcome. Be kind in the chat. But also, you have to understand that Judge Hippler has never had a death penalty case. And until taking the bench, he had practiced like tort or, civil law, basically. Things like medical malpractice, regulatory matters, business disputes. So like, I don't know, regular shit. And Hippler does not have a background in criminal law. So keep that in mind as we are going forward, talking about this trial, talking about touch DNA, talking about red fluid from 2 other guys that was never uploaded in CODIS. Because if he had some criminal law background, I think red flags should be going off in the mind of Judge Hippler, right? Because a judge with a criminal background would be like, wait a fucking minute, why wasn't red fluid DNA that was found at the crime scene, ladies and gentlemen, why was that not uploaded? Red flags. But maybe it's because he worked with freaking malpractice and parking tickets. He's like, I have no common sense. I don't understand anything, right? And he doesn't even know what DNA is. So then he's asking all these not idiotic, right? Because no question is really an idiotic question. But he's asking all these questions about research and things that he has studied on his own. Maybe he's trying to understand, but let's be real. You need pretty in-depth understanding as far as DNA goes. We've had so many people be like, Nika, they found Brian's DNA. That's the only DNA they found on the crime scene. Therefore, why are you defending him? And it's like, people don't understand how touch DNA works, right? That if you shake somebody's hand and that person shakes somebody else's hand and that person shakes somebody else's hand and that person shakes somebody else's hand, basically have that happen 6 times, your touch DNA can end up on, I don't know, whatever you touched, maybe a camera. So maybe he's trying his best, but he's not grasping the entirety of DNA, right? So he's asking all these questions. We know that the judge is biased in favor of the prosecution. And in a snippet that I watched of Andrea Burkhart, she says that he, referring to Hippler, has several decisions that suggest to me his biases favor the prosecution. In State versus Croto, this was a 2016 case, by the way, Judge Hippler denied a motion to suppress in which the police employed admittedly sharp investigative tactics, right? Which means they did something that was criminal, which means that they did something that was illegal. Basically, what the cops did in this 2016 case, if you look it up, State versus Croto, the police induced a mentally disabled man to consent to a search of himself and his things, which, by the way, is illegal, right? So here we have Hippler siding with the state. Like I had mentioned before, we know judges usually are biased, usually will side with the state. But for those of you who were giving me a hard time and saying, Nika, you need to back up your nonsense that you're spewing, there you go, bitch. There you go, right? Factual information. Him siding with the police, even though they're using these sharp investigative criminal tactics, basically, on mentally disabled people. I don't know how you feel about that. Let me know how you guys feel about that, because that to me says a lot about Judge Hippler and says a lot potentially about how this case is going to turn out. We have a very biased judge with minimal, actually no criminal law background. That is a recipe for a fucking disaster. Excuse my français. And it's just concerning to me that then every court hearing we have Judge Hippler, making these stupid ass faces every time Anne or Lisa are up there talking. It's like, I don't know. So the Court of Appeals found that Judge Hippler's finding that the man never asked police to leave was clearly a lie when the man told the officers multiple times that he did not want them in his house. So in this case that I'm talking about, guys, the 2016 case where the judge sided with the cops, there was proof. It was well known that this mentally incapacitated man had told the cops, I want you guys out of here. And not only had he told the police to please leave once, he told them several times. He told them, please leave, I don't want you in my house. And still, what did we get? Basically, judge protecting the state. That's what we got. And that is a red flag. But it's a red flag I expect from judges. It's just how it usually goes, unfortunately, right? So I'm trying to pull something up here. Please bear with me. Let me know, guys, in the chat. I'm going to catch up on the chat. Just a second. I don't want to get too distracted because, ADHD, and then I forget to give you guys half the information. So I'm just going to wait a little bit. By the way, how's your day going? Mine was great. Let's see, what is so just to clarify one more time, guys, the glove that was found by Chris McDonough was a separate glove from the glove that we were talking about. So now we have two confirmed sources of unknown male DNA that the police, that the detectives, that law enforcement, that federal agents decided to not upload into CODIS. Why is that? And why is it that lawyers are saying it doesn't really matter, just because their their red fluid was there doesn't mean that they committed the crime. But also at the same time, just because Brian's touch DNA was there doesn't mean that he didn't commit the crime. It's like, again, you can't have it both ways, right? You can't have it both ways. You either upload everything, especially one would think you would definitely be uploading red fluid DNA. Why do you guys think that the detectives chose to just not do it? Right? So here we have two different gloves. Chris McDonough found glove, and then these two other unidentified male DNAs at the crime scene. So two unidentified male DNAs at the crime scene. And now we know that it's from BLOOD. And we know that one of this BLOOD DNA was found on the handrail of the house of 1122 King Road. And the other specimen is from a glove. Interesting. Interesting that they chose to not put that into CODIS. One would assume that if you're trying to solve a case, that you would upload all sources of red fluid DNA into CODIS. If you're actually trying to find the perpetrators, if you're actually trying to find the criminals. But no, not these investigators. They said, fuck that. We're just going to go with the clean sheath. We're just going to go with the touch DNA inside the snap button. Interesting. So I wanted to clear that up in this video, and I wanted to also get your guys' opinions, because what do you think? Do you think it's possible that this case is going to end up getting dismissed due to these two unknown sources of BLOOD, unknown male DNA, that were never looked into by what it sounds like criminal investigators, criminal cops, corrupt detectives. That's what that sounds like to me. And now we know for a fact that Judge Hippler is biased. We know for a fact that Judge Hippler has sided with corrupt criminal police officers, like I mentioned in the 2016 case. He said, well, it doesn't matter. It's just the cops lying to get a mentally disabled man to get searched. It doesn't matter if this mentally incapacitated man told the cops multiple times to leave. It doesn't matter if they used sharp investigative criminal tactics. I'm still going to protect the cops. That's what this man is all about. So I am not feeling too good about this, guys. It's important to see the truth between, you know, everything that's happening, everything that is being released, and to pay attention to these people who call themselves lawyers, they're supposed to know the law. They're supposed to be as unbiased as possible. And then they go out on YouTube, on the news channels, and give interviews and are biased as fuck. They're out here saying, well, you know, these pro-Kohbergers are out here saying that, you know, it's hysteria, you know, just because that was not uploaded into CODIS, it doesn't matter. You know, it's not that big of a deal, you know. Just because there was red fluids from 2 other men doesn't really mean that Kohberger didn't do it. And just because their red fluids were in the house doesn't mean that they were involved in the crime. But you still want to pin this touch DNA or this entire crime on Kohberger because of touch DNA, while willingly, blissfully choosing to ignore 2 other sources of BLOOD. Are you stupid? Are these the types of lawyers that should be allowed to be giving their biased opinions, their uneducated opinions on news channels, on social media, on podcasts? Because I think that's exactly how you get a biased jury. Not that I'm worried about that, because we already have a biased as fuck judge, right? So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? No, don't listen to these fucking lawyers. Use your fucking brain. You're a big boy. You're a big girl. And I know most of you guys here that follow me, like my actual true followers who have been here since the beginning, I know that you guys have common sense, because that's how you're able to put up with all my bullshit. But for those of you who are new here, welcome. We are a little harsh here, but you know what? We're harsh because that's the truth. The truth is harsh in this case. And when you hear a lawyer saying, don't be hysterical, you know, just because 2 sources of red fluid wasn't updated to CODIS, that shouldn't make that shouldn't make you pro-burgers hysterical. It's like, no, you're stupid. Might be harsh, but it's true. Those should be red flags going off in everybody's brain. Because again, if you yourself or a loved one was to be accused of a crime, you would want everything submitted into CODIS, right? Especially if you didn't do this crime. I think that would just be common sense, right? Let's see. What is the chat doing? And by the way, if you did not watch the first nugget that I dropped today, go watch that, because Samantha's got a lot to say. Samantha, in my opinion, is the shit. Like, she's smart. She's a smart woman. Despite, you know, all the other bullshit she's been through with the family, with Steve, with addiction, she's come out pretty well on the other side. And just go watch it, because we talked about some of the things that she uploaded. Is she siding with Brian Kohberger? Why? Who is in the chat? Bartman XOXO and Kim, hello. Big Plex Little City, hi Hoppers, no glitch. Hi Batshit Crazy, hi Dawn again. Hell yeah, again, before I go to work, right? And by the way, guys, I just wanted to remind you, because I just remember, if you guys see shadows back there, they come on more when we talk about certain topics, like autopsy reports. I can sense those shadows. Some of you guys freaked the fuck out like 2-3 videos ago. They're like, well, it's maybe something from your window. Babe, I don't have my window open, right? I don't have it open. If you guys see those shadows in my heart, those are some of the victims saying, you need to talk about that topic, Nika, because we are uncomfortable with the truth being hidden. And some of you guys don't believe in it. You're like, it's probably just a shadow. It's probably just a car. No. I didn't believe in that either, especially as a scientist. It took me a long time and some freaking lengthy trips, lengthy visits in the jungle when I used to backpack. And I'm like, holy shit, am I seeing things? Am I going crazy? Just thought you guys should know. If you see weird shadows, they're not demonic things. There's just people, victims, whatever you want to call them, souls of the victims that are saying, Nika, you need to talk about this. And if they're here, it's because they feel at home. Some people are like, oh my God, you have to get all spiritual. We hate it, but I don't give a shit. If you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. We're here for the victims and for the innocent people that may be incarcerated without actually having done anything, right? CT says, I love and appreciate your dedication to this case. Thank you. Hi, Gladiator, again, 1983. Carrie Corpy says an entire scene was contaminated, right? And at that time, the other side came before 9/11 was phoned in. Exactly. But again, we've had 2 biased judges, and they're like, it's not that big of a deal. When in reality, that's the biggest deal of all. The 8-hour gap where no police officers were called, and they also called other people over before they called the cops, right? Interesting. It's all a mysterious hot mess. BK is the patsy here, possibly, quite possibly. Hi, Rochelle, finally made it live. Hello. Jody says, hi, friends. Only in Detroit. Oh my God, I made it live. Welcome. This is my second live. Took me a bit to sort out to play live. I'm glad you got it. Love you, girl. Hi, thank you, Zelda. Are you doing well? And I'm doing well. I'm almost always doing well, guys. I'm just... The world could be crumbling, and I'm like genetically half glass. What is it? Glass half full? Positive, basically. That's just who I am, right? I've been in very shitty situations. I've been down in the dumps. I've been broke. I've been almost homeless. Not now, but when I was younger. I've lived through it all. So it's like, I don't know. It is what it is, right? You got to be positive, because being not positive makes you not good. It's not good. That's all I'm going to say. Fallon says, oh my, another glove. Yeah. And here we have Laura saying, it doesn't really matter, you know. It doesn't matter that there's a glove covered in BLOOD. It's not that big of a deal. It doesn't matter that we have BLOOD on a handrail. By the way, we're saying that again, if you guys are just coming in, we're using the spelling here because this platform is a little unhinged. They don't like us being honest, bro. It's red fluid. It is what it is. Right? It's hard to keep up, says only in Detroit. There's a lot of ignorance with DNA, and it can all be all around the world, places you've never been, but you don't know till you know, right? And that's what's problematic about this case, because if you have a judge who is biased, we already know he is biased, there's proof he is biased, and then on top of that, he doesn't understand criminal law, it's like, that is not a good mix. That is exactly how you end up with innocent people in jail, right? Optimistic is my jam too, says Kari. Touch DNA is very sus. And for those of you who are not aware, touch DNA is not allowed in military courts because it's bullshit. It degrades very quickly, and on the button type of sheath, it's a degraded sample. Othram Lab could not get a match, and they are the gold standard. Funny how that works. Yes, very funny how that works. Also very concerning, in my opinion, that Othram Lab did say in one of their most recent documentaries, guys, that to build a profile takes roughly 6 weeks, but yet they happen to get a profile built in like 24 hours. Shady. Who gave me all that money? Oh my Lord. Thank you for your common sense approach. $10 whole in this economy? Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That's going to feed me for like the week at work, probably. Thank you. It's a tough economy, guys. It's tough out here. Dan said, stop staring at beautiful Nika a second and hit the like. Oh my gosh, you guys are so sweet. I'm an old lady. I could probably be half your guys' moms. I'm in my 40s. So it's like, thank you guys. I don't know. I don't know what you guys look like. Let me know in the chat. What are your guys' ages? You guys, I feel like you're younger than me. Maybe not. Big Plants Little City. Hi, Momo's thinking. Big Plants Little City says it's the frat boys and they know it. Exactly, Snooper. That fluid should have been ran through CODIS. Yes, it should have been, but it isn't. And that's a problem. It's a big problem for Brian Kohberger. And just to freshen your guys' brains, a lot of people still out there saying, well, Brian did ask, was anybody else arrested? That's a fucking rumor that has never been verified. So, no. No. That listing, the sample B and D they found, plus Brian's, is sample and that Anne spoke of. So who is sample C? Exactly. I mentioned that like a week ago in one of my videos. Who is sample C? Is it possible that that's a third person that we don't know of? The snooper says, if it's not dismissed, our justice system is in extreme danger. Yes, and the problem with our system, guys, is that this has always been happening. This very suspicious justice system that we have, so many incarcerated individuals that are innocent, wrongly incarcerated individuals, it's always happened. But now we are in an era where true crime, people are drawn to it, where it's like people all over the world, not just in the USA, right? People are paying attention. They're like, what the hell is going on with our judges? What the hell is going on with police officers? What the hell is going on with, oh my God, a tea on me. Oh my gosh, $2? Thank you guys. What is it? Is like, oh, is it like a full moon? I'm getting money. Like, I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. Thank you guys. But it's very concerning because this has happened forever, but now because it's getting traction throughout social media, throughout YouTube channels like ours here, it's that we are paying attention. But it's so important that we pay attention, even though people might talk smack and say, well, it's just crime sleuthing. It's just true crime on YouTube. No, we have to pay attention. When we pay attention, when we call out these corrupt judges, corrupt cops, corrupt lawyers, corrupt maybe frat boys, maybe presidents of universities, when we call out everything, when we question everything, people understand, everybody in this case understands, they are being analyzed. We are watching you very closely. We're watching all of your moves. Every single move that you're doing, we are watching. And when we pay close attention, people do the right thing most of the time, or they're more likely to do the right thing than when they're not being watched. Oh my God, Jody, $3? I'm telling you, like, it's been so weird today, guys. I don't know. It's like, I'm so happy. I'm so thankful to everybody who's donating. I also got to work today, like a coworker who, by the way, like, I never see her. She bought me a pizza, like a pizza slice for lunch and a drink. And I was like, that never happens. It's like an amazing day. Thank you. Backwood beats and outlaw rhythm. So I'm starting to think Dylan weren't even there. Maybe Dylan came home tripping, though she thought she was seeing things, which is why she called friends over. Seems like no one trusted the MPD. I have my own thoughts about Dylan. I personally think that she was there. I don't know what's going on with Dylan. What? Are you serious? $2 more for EBK El Boricua? What is going on? I'm like gonna cry. Like happy cry, because it's like, what's going on? Is it a full moon? Is it? It might be, I don't know, but thank you guys. Wow. I don't even have to work anymore with all these tips. I'm just kidding, I still have to work. Thank you guys. It's nice to get tips, but I just appreciate the love, all the nice comments that I get from you guys, because sometimes it's very hard to do this, right? Like, It's not like we're getting a lot of money on YouTube. Most of us don't do this for the money. Most of us have to have real jobs outside of YouTube, right? But it's just nice to get love versus like the Gonzalez army of hate saying they're gonna RAPE me or they're gonna KILL my children so that I feel what the Gonzalez are feeling, like things like that. It's like, it's nice to get some love instead. So I appreciate all of you guys. Momo says, but all the attorney generals have been fired from last admin, I think. Crazy. Yes, and the fact that they didn't care about the other DNA does speak volumes, right? That is huge. That's huge. So it's crazy. Guys, I have to get going. I have to get to work at 4. So thank you for all the donations. I really appreciate it. I'm going to stock up on tea and coffee and food because I'm hungry. Your girl has already lost 10 pounds. I know you guys probably can't tell, but I have. Because work is stressful sometimes. But hey, summer's coming, I guess. So either way, thank you guys. Let me know, what do you think about this potential case dismissal pending? Maybe, do you think it's possible that these red fluids that were found at the crime scene are going to help the defense? Or is the biased judge just gonna say, well, it doesn't really matter. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Thank you guys for joining me in the chat. Leave a like, leave a comment. Love you guys. Bye-bye. Take care.